And so our plan went into action. The first to go were Gartrinus and Straga, who walked back to town and very quickly were intercepted by a Struln who started banging on one of the drums up here. The entire array down south, every single person on standby, including Dadatat's own force of Galoins that had been brought as entourages for the Struln, stopped and turned as they started seeing them approach. One of them started to run down, moving his way through. As he stopped for a moment, looked across. It's the Geich. It's them. Upon hearing that, someone who had cowered before had begun running fast as Dadatat started to move his way across. Hang on. I can help talk to them. Just give me a moment. We'll make sure to get everything sorted here. The Struln seemed to almost regard him for a moment, but then let him go, as Dadatat managed to pull himself forward. What have you been up to? I hear say of some kind of adventurer you're traveling with?
I raised an eyebrow at him. We were just looking at the caves.
Looking at the caves?
Indeed. Yes, well, I have been incredibly keen in terms of getting to know the space better, and although exploring the caves I know is supposed to be really dangerous, my curiosity knows no bounds, you know? So I've been enlisting Straga and the others to help me around. I've been really appreciating the help.
For a moment, Dadatat stopped. He noticed the other Struln start to make his way forward again until he turned again. Hold on, we've just had a report that you were engaging in seditious activity. We're just here to confirm that. If that's not true, then there must have been some mistake, and we can try to clear it up. Isn't that right? The other man seemed to stop a moment, the Struln, as he started to turn over instead, looking at the two of them. I've got my orders. I don't really care about any of that. The fact is, we've got a report that you've been doing bad things, so we're taking you in. Come on.
Okay. Who sent the report?
He was silent, ignoring the question as he kept walking. Someone did speak up, however, moving past this way. The dolls have got you made. What are you doing?
The dolls are idiots, and we had to do what we needed to do to make sure we could secure something very important for all of us.
What? What secured? What are you talking about? Hey, come on, let's go.
Look.
Stop slacking.
Find Edite, and she'll explain everything. But for now, I'm going to make sure that one of us isn't behind bars for no reason. Oh, but there's no need for moving so hastily. Please, wait for me.
Dadatat stood for a moment, stopped, and sort of moved his way back this way. As he sort of pulled himself up, he climbed up the ladder. He spoke to him for a second, calling out to the others. They all swarmed together with him and started heading their way back into town.
Now, I can understand why you would want to go and take us in for questioning if we've been doing, I had to air quote it, bad things, but we can't really assist the circumstances unless you're at least a little bit more specific.
He turned over. I don't really care. Just get going. I don't really care about the circumstances. You could walk into town by yourself, or I could take you there. Directly, by force. So get walking.
At the very least, may I please say hello to our fellow merchant? We had the intention of passing by Syed's place on the way back from what we were doing, and she is expecting us.
He grumbled a bit. That one phrase, that she had been expecting them. The Struln here had no respect for those he was about to take in, but it seems in that moment he didn't want to have to bother dealing with the merchant if she was expecting them. So, instead, he said, 5 minutes. Go.
Ah, plenty of time, thank you. All right, Straga, what's the play?
Play? I mean, is there really a play?
I mean, we've got to find something that at least won't put the necks of our friends on the line. I know that both you and I are willing to be quite self-sacrificing for the causes at hand, but we've got to make sure that if anybody is getting into trouble, it's not them.
That's understandable, but if we're innocent, then we don't pull anything. The best thing we can probably do in this situation is just sow distrust. If the dolls did report us, when did the Struln start trusting the dolls so deeply?
Unfortunately, that's a matter that I couldn't really say. I don't know what kind of relationship they would have with the dolls or how long the dolls have been around. Shall I leave that to you? At the very least, I hope that Sayadnap would have maybe some information at hand that she can share with us, give us a bit of a leg up on the proceedings.
Probably. We should head over there then.
Right.
Oh, hey there! If it isn't my good business associates, thanks for coming back so quickly.
Yes, of course. It was
Hey, what's going on?
Well, you're telling me. Well,
Okay, don't worry. I'll roll with it.
So, what brings you back here?
well, my dear, I know that I have a lot of new shroud work going on, and I'm going to be very busy. I have obtained some wonderful things from our jaunt out in the field, and I would love to exchange them for some textiles.
Well, of course. After all, I'm only in the business for making money, so why don't you just go ahead and tell me what you need?
Weaving in amongst looking at the various threads and fabrics she had on offer, we had subtle conversation as I thumbed over the silks and the muslin. So, just exactly when did the Struln arrive? Have they been forceful or just menacing?
Oh, it's just menacing, you know? It's that thing where everyone just bows down and lets him go in because you don't want to get beat up. Besides, everyone's just following the example.
It did just feel like they're operating on a I'm just following orders sort of energy. There are plenty of humans who work that way. I suppose it's the same down here too.
Same everywhere, honestly. So you can always trust a crowd to bring in more people. Everyone wants to see what's available, what's going on. Looks like that guy's getting a little impatient right now. So, yeah, they came in. They've been menacing. They've been here. They came in with the big boss and they moved back to town after leaving a little garrison group here.
The big boss, huh?
Oh, yeah, he's gone now.
I glanced over at Straga. Do you have any idea who that would be?
Yeah, Moratro. He's the general of the Lich.
Oh, the big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think a super nice person, so...
Well, if there is anyone that we would want to sow a little bit of doubt about, I say behind my hand in almost stage whisper. Yes, I see you advancing in a very serious demeanor. I'm ready. Sorry to have taken so much of your time.
Thank you for the patience. I think I have a lot of money to make now. She jostled her coin purse, now filled fresh with paltrops, and began organizing something. She took a look, making sure that everything was directly in view, and as she did, she stopped and turned over as they started to leave. They could hear her say one thing in the background. Hey, you! One of the Struln peeked over. She pointed at them as well, and then kind of walked on over. As they started to move past, you're definitely going to look after those guys. They can't be trusted. They're really good at taking a drop on someone, so Right. Thanks, merchant. Here's your tip. He flicked a paltrop on the ground. She took it, willing to take anything that was in front of her worth value, and then pulled herself back. Hey, you! Glory, get out of there! She peeled away at a chest as suddenly something popped out and someone on the inside pulled out. Okay, I think I heard all that. Yeah, good. Now go deliver for me, little delivery boy. Okay, gotcha. What, it was a bunch of, take this bag, and you take this as well. Take this sword, and you take everything else, and get running, okay? All right? And with that, the most efficient delivery person within the dungeon had finally gone out from the most efficient shopkeep, as they have finally moved their way back inside to the town itself. Stumbling in the town, the presence of the Struln seemed to intensify. They seemed to be looking at all general areas within the village.
Yeah, they are everywhere.
Looks serious. Well, let's not rock the boat too hard, shall we?
Hey! We found 2 of them. There was a motion as one of the Struln nearby quickly began running off. Most of the Galoins seemed to have been shuffled off, moving deeper into the town and pulling themselves as far away as they could. Keep going.
Very well.
Okay.
As they passed by, nearby they noticed the chef still cooking and sort of looked at them passing by.
Golo Golo,
Golo Golo.
are you all right?
There was a solemn nod. Busy day. More mouths to feed.
Thank you for your hard work. Krivak,
Kravak. The one that had negotiated them so far pointed them forward as the other guard sort of kept them caged in. From what it sounded like, the pressure was almost on a razor wire. It feels like at any moment anyone could snap. The Galoins nearby watched approaching, sort of retreated back inside of the tent as the Struln continued to push everyone forward. Eventually, as Straga rounded the corner with Gartrinus, he could see a familiar face in the distance. 2 of the Struln seemed to be staring directly at his mother, who was sort of just standing in the middle of the path. There was a stare-off, very few words were being exchanged, and any that were in harsh tones. If the tension had been razor-thin and nearly cuttable like by any sort of soft fingernail or a swift movement of a dagger, over here it was like a sinking sensation. The tension had already piled over, but instead of coming to action, people were considering what they were going to do next. One of them seemed to have a hand on a weapon, the other one just sort of watched, as she stood and looked forward at everyone assembled here.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, I hope the Oreo is okay.
As they approached, finally some words could be heard. Come on. Why don't you just get on out of here, all right? I'll give that to you. You and that Geich baby of yours can just get out of town, maybe. Head on out of the mountain and just start walking into the forest where no one will ever see you again. I think that'd make everyone happier. So why don't you go, huh? She seemed to stand still, not budging a single movement. This was probably the way of things. Her standing completely still, staring at both of them, not muttering a word, answering a question, just watching. The one behind started speaking up too. You can give it a rest. Check it out. Huh? Oh. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for your assistance. Very much appreciated. Now, maybe you could just buzz off. We got it now. So why don't you move? Again, she stood still, and then she turned her attention over to Straga, who had finally approached. As she stopped for a moment, she made herself very present, turned to the lift, turned back over. Are you okay?
Yes.
Will you be okay?
Yes. Things will be fine. When they realize we didn't do anything, things will be solved.
Her face seemed to twist a bit at those words, returning to a bit of frustration as she sort of turned back and looked at them. As they all sort of turned back and looked away, the one holding the weapon just sort of started banging the side of the wooden railing to the side. Hey, we kind of need to take them up, so why don't you just save a little reunion for later, huh?
I watched the Struln bang his weapon against the fence along the side of this bridge and measured his attitude, his demeanor. Everything was tense here, and it was slowly reaching a boiling point, but those who were threatening violence above all else, well, I'm not quite sure if that could be tolerated. I held the needle in my hand within my cloak, a lower arm which we usually keep tucked away, waiting for him to try and make a violent move. When he didn't, I slowly relaxed, but still kept myself on guard. No one would need to be flung off the bridge just yet.
Yes.
As they regrouped, Team and Rai looked, and then she finally left again, moving back over here. She stood by the lift, holding onto a lever on the inside. She sort of pulled it back with ease. He sort of disappeared back below for a bit. And then finally, all right, come on, let's go.
Well, as we walked towards the end of the village, in a whisper I addressed Straga. She seems really kind.
As they finally reached their main destination, Badakanatat was the first to turn and address. Straga? Gartrinus? Welcome back. I think there's some... The other person seemed to speak up immediately. There are some accusations put against you.
Yes.
You're two of the ones that were, as I'm informed, cavorting with an adventurer and causing trouble within the dungeon. Destroyer of Master Assembly, and otherwise slaughterer of multiple Struln inside the dining room, along with, and if I'm correct, actions against destroying the Lich permanently.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm sorry, I don't believe we've been introduced. I had already deduced this was the individual that Sayadnap was talking about earlier. I am Gartrinus Kanakana. I have traveled here to the Lich's Mountain. I chose to again be careful with my words. As a historian of both the mountain and of Goloban culture. Straga and the others have been paramount to helping me in my research. But I must say, our recent visit to the Lich's Manor, while fruitful, seems to have had some misinformed detail. Might I inquire who told you?
We were informed by the dolls who brought it post-haste to us, and as a result, I don't really think you have anyone vouching on your side besides yourself. This was not a matter that was simply resolved by one doll coming to us. This was a unanimous thing. The dolls never act unanimously. So, unless you have some pretty damning evidence in the opposite, I don't really think you're going to get away with this.
Sir,
Well, sorry, go ahead, Straga.
don't you think the dolls are clamoring for something?
Tartre stood for a moment, considering the words. They're always clamoring for something, but it doesn't really concern me. Marchero made it clear we're to wrap you up, bring you back.
I mean,
Whether you're going back in a sack or a body bag's up to you.
very well.
Back where?
That's not for you to know.
Oh, unfortunately, it is of relative importance. After all, I do have reports to send back to the humans and the university to which I traveled from. If they don't hear from me, or rather, if the reports that I send are, I don't know, complicated, and they have to follow up on it, that would be a problem, I think, for at least me. So I think it would be good for us to know where you intend to take us, so they don't get worried.
The captain simply shrugged aside. Whatever concerns the hued men does not concern me. Quite in the opposite. I'd be glad to take you now. After all, now I can just screw over some humans somewhere. Come on, take them away. Almost reacting to that, Batakanatat, whose expression had grown rather remorseful and morose, had turned. No, hang on. They said that they didn't do it, so please just one moment, sir. I would like to hear them. Just a little more, please. I promise, it'll just be a moment. Let's hear their full story, just in case they get hurt. And I'm sure it'll benefit. He stops. All right, I'm giving you one chance. Just for the sake of your elder here, why don't you just tell me one more time, what were you doing out there? What dragged you away all this business?
I speak up. Well, sir, the dungeon is in a chaotic state, wouldn't you agree?
He seemed annoyed by being asked a question instead of be given an answer, but he nodded his head.
We all know why that is, but this sort of state has been disturbed a bit. There has been someone going around the dungeon who I assume also killed those Strulns you were talking about. The dolls acting in unison. Now, Marquette has told me a lot about nature before, but usually when something like this happens, it means there's a disaster about to brew.
Quite. We were only in the manor because we were invited on behalf of Ganglion. He did give us an invitation to a free meal, which I'm sure you can vouch with him. He's usually very compliant when you ask him questions.
A free meal where we saw a bunch of dead Struln.
Not that Ganglion could explain why they were there. They were already seated when we arrived. But there was an additional special guest. Zahn, if you've met her. I carefully measured his expression to see how he would react.
Up until the word was spoken, it'd seem he was pleasing out some agreement in his mind. He wasn't going to listen to a word they said, and he was ready to potentially almost instantly send them off the moment they gave whatever excuse he did. But with that word, the body language shifted. A coldness ran across the back of his neck. His body seemed to straight up. You saw Zahn?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We saw her.
This
We saw her pace through
large...
that manor. Every time a doll or ganglion came to see her needs, she, with, I must say, terrifying efficiency, cut them down. They all seem a resilient sort, but I can tell it hurt. It was hard to concentrate on the meal.
His face had started to sink. Sweat had started to form on his brow as he seemed to remember something. Oh, right, you... Zahn. So you're saying she killed the Struln?
Well, we don't know who killed the Struln. It was either Zahn or the dolls. Zahn seems like someone who just wants to be left alone and stay in their room.
No. This is starting to make more sense to me. The dolls reported this, but earnestly, a bunch of Galoins couldn't kill one of our raiding parties, so I make it rather make sense that Zahn might be responsible. You have more information on this matter?
I look over at Gartrinus.
All I know is that she was pacing through that manor as though it were hers. She was not one for conversation, and she was very quick to move to violence.
Right.
I'm glad we escaped alive.
All right.
If I could ask, who is Zahn exactly? They seemed very high up with how they were ordering around the dolls and Ganglion and everything. Are they perhaps above you?
No. They're not above us. They're just a brigand. They don't hold power, they just wield strength. That's it. They're strong, but he stopped, almost cutting himself short, as he sort of looked down at the two. Thank you for your assistance, Elder. I think this will be enough. He leaped down, pulling the distance between the stone slab rather easily as he sort of peeked down and stood and hulking above the other two. All right, listen here. Do you want to get out of this?
That would be preferable.
I just want to make sure that everybody is safe.
Right. Then you're going to listen to me very carefully. At the same time, the wooden door was flung open, to much shock of Morachero, who stopped. Lounging around on the small wooden throne he held, he sort of turned. His face was placid, and inside the room, some of the Struln that were on rest and shifting duty, one sharpening a blade, all stopped and turned at the Galoin, clearing her throat.
I quickly recalled the books that I had read from ages past, reinforced from the tales recently learned from that library. There was a method that humans used to talk in to make themselves more grandiose. Right now, if I was going to act as his mouthpiece, I needed to do it properly. And so, casting aside my pride as the IO, for the moment, I intoned, hear ye, hear ye! I have come to announce the return of our dear and beloved overlord of the dungeon. I hesitated in this moment. Calling this out, particularly after what we learned most recently, left a foul taste in my mouth. But, at the very least, if this turned to an advantage for us, it will have been worth it. am delighted to announce the return of our overlord, the Lich. I throw myself into a low and dramatic bow, as if announcing the presence of an actor that needs to walk on stage. While doing this, I quickly shifted my hands through my coat, allowing the two upper arms to perform most of the gestures. The two lower arms were actively depositing as many coins as I possibly could from my recently acquired bag of feast.
I heard my stage directions, but unfortunately, my costume was a little difficult to get in terms of, so I believe, though I could not see through the mask I was wearing, Yayo stood alone on a carpet for at least 5-6 seconds before a voice spoke up. Moartro, hearing the first words I've ever heard spoken from his mouth. Cut off her head. Yes, sir. One of them stood up and began walking forward. And then, pushing through the door, a large entity formed.
Now I wouldn't go and do that so hastily.
Her entire form stretched high above, shrouding the immediate space near her in darkness, casting a dark from the chandelier that covered the entire room. The one that had come over to so quickly dispose of a Galoin stumbled back suddenly as she poked her way up, standing there. And then she simply did just do her part and stood there. Zanao Zarabul. Well, why are you siding with this traitor? She stopped. She was smiling, but she didn't particularly make any sort of indication, her smile growing wider.
Traitor? Traitor to who?
To the Lich, to the dolls. I don't believe you're rambling for a second. What do you mean the Lich has returned? Nonsense.
A traitor to Lich Varnus? I stood up to my full height. Now you're the one being ridiculous. Who told you that? Was it the dolls? Those traitors?
He turned his attention on over to the furnace, which seemed to rumble for a moment until something seemed to boil its way out of the flames, poking through.
At this moment, as everyone was looking at Umami, I pulled my bow back ready for this situation. It was going to be a tough shot. The door cracked just slightly open by Zan's entrance. And I'd have to shoot past the Struln leader as well. This is going to be tough. I took a deep breath in. Loose an arrow.
An arrow quickly shifted its way through the room, slamming into Umami and almost pinning her against the wall in one blow.
The pretender is struck down! I took a step forward, having recovered a very important tool from our last encounter. If we got lucky, or perhaps unlucky, this would be the exact outcome. Exactly the right doll in the right moment. I took a step forward and produced it from the depths of my coat. The real Umami is right here!
Oh my god.
Wait. I could hear the croak from Zan. As we had learned, it was a laugh, though it did come off as some sort of sinister thing in that very moment. I knew I had to act quickly, however. There was no time. I needed to go in as quick as I could and take advantage of this. Moartro spoke. What is this? He stopped, turned to both the dolls, and then turned to the new one.
Why? Of course, it's the presence of Lich Varnus. Can't you tell?
Standing up finally from his throne. As he stood, no other Struln would dare remain seating as they all stood as well and started to make their way forward. Lord Varnus's return?
Lord Varnus has returned, sir. I stood my full height. And I'm going to be honest, under normal circumstances, I would not be courageous enough to stand before you, but I fear his wrath far more than I fear yours.
He stopped, narrowing his eyes at the doll, but at this point he turned. Tell me that the Lich has returned. You say that there are pretenders amongst the dolls. Where is Varnus now?
You would dare call upon our lord? He arrives exactly as he pleases. Wait a second. I turned on my heel, trying to act it more convincing. The coins jangled to the bottom of my shroud. This was gonna suck. You know what you're gonna do now? Oh my god! Yes, my lord! Yes, my lord! I'm sorry! They're getting impatient! I stomped my foot down on the coins, causing them to ignite, making my form catch fire. Acting all more convincingly, I fell to the ground, letting out a howl of pain.
Oh my god.
I just shoved off. Everything wasn't fully put on correctly, but I needed to come in this exact moment. As I pulled through, moved away, I stood tall as I could, moving on throughout the building. As I stood in my full assembled majesty.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Your arrogance will be your undoing. A foolish Galoin will die foolishly, lest you prostrate yourself now.
They say it's been too long. It's so nice to see you. You're a good friend of mine. So long farewell at you. No, I can't believe, oh no, not words from thee, but said in facsimile, yearning for that distant we. So I'm searching for near eternity, but I don't know where I should be. Love of branch, no family tree, no friends I have to see. An unfriendly propensity is my natural state to take flight in perpetuity. And so echo back is only me, cut off from precious we.